The cleanup continues tonight after the strongest winds Colorado has seen in years blew through the state over the weekend. There were wind gusts of up to 90 miles an hour in the Denver metro area. The strongest winds were north of Fort Collins and here in the foothills. The winds reached the eastern plains too. Check out this house in Sterling there. All those tumbleweeds blocked in the front house, getting blown everywhere. Good evening, I'm Mark Salinger.
And I'm Kim Christensen. Thousands of people still don't have power tonight. 6 schools in Jeffco will be closed tomorrow. And Boulder Valley says 2 elementary schools may need to be closed for a second day in a row if Xcel can't get the lights back on overnight. At this hour, Xcel's outage map is showing more than 10,000 customers without power. Xcel told us more than 500 crew members are working to inspect lines, repair damage, and restore service. They also said today some outages may last into tomorrow, especially in Arvada and Boulder. We spoke to a woman living on Lookout Mountain who says she can't get a straight answer from Xcel about when to expect their power to get back on.
We have people up there. We had them up there last night. A transformer blew, they told us, and it'll be fixed by today. It'll be fixed by this afternoon. No problem, we'll have it fixed. So then we called back and they said, all status updates are gone. We have no idea when anything's going to happen for you. So instead, they're choosing to leave residents without power, water, heat, and 0 updates. So we get that the power is going to go out. We know where we live. We get it. But what we don't understand is their lack of communication.
Lots of people also criticize Xcel for their communication. The company shut off power to thousands of people proactively before that windstorm came through, and they gave customers a few hours notice before they did so.
We acknowledge where there's opportunities to communicate sooner, and we'll work to do that going forward. We've heard that same feedback that you're conveying. This is a tool of last resort. And so we weren't making a definitive decision. We were seeing the same weather, but we know that that weather is likely to change. And we don't want to necessarily cause unnecessary concern and panic if we're not definitive about taking that step of last resort to turn off power.
The PUC is asking for your feedback on the precautionary power outages so they can decide whether to impose regulations. We have a link to submit your feedback on our story on 9news.com.
The storm brought down so many branches that cities around the metro area are now setting up sites for people to drop off their tree limbs that fell. Lakewood is taking down tree limbs at their city greenhouse until next Monday. Wheat Ridge doing the same at a free branch drop-off site Friday and Saturday at Anderson Park. You do have to prove that you live in those areas to drop off your branches. We have all that information about drop-off sites near your home on our website, 9news.com. Just text the word WINS to the number on your screen, 303-871-1491. We'll text you a link with that story.
The storm also led to a lot of spoiled food from those extended power outages. Boulder County is helping people get rid of it. They say you can bring food in non-glass containers to the Western Disposal's transfer site on 63rd Street in Boulder, and they'll compost it for you. So many folks are dealing with spoiled foods, including food banks. Community Food Share, which serves Boulder and Broomfield counties, lost power this weekend. Staff worked to seal up as much food as they could so it could stay cold and frozen for as long as possible. The food bank says they were able to salvage a lot of it, but they had to throw out about 1,500 pounds of food and 45 gallons of milk.
A bit longer. So we have thousands of families here who lost refrigerators and freezers full of food during a time when resources are already stretched for families who are trying to feed their families in one of our highest cost communities here in Colorado.
If you would like to help Community Food Share, they say they'll accept any food or monetary donations. Boulder County says people on SNAP benefits who were impacted by the outages can fill out an online form to request replacement benefits for any spoiled food, but you need to do it quickly. Those forms need to be submitted within 10 days of losing the food.
Windy out there.
Wow. Yeah, and it's still kind of breezy, Kathy.
Yeah.
We just want some calm.
Yeah, well, this is a big improvement over the weekend for sure, but it isn't entirely calm, Kim, because we're sitting in between 2 storm systems tonight, one to the south and one to the north of us. And we just have a few high clouds coming in, but that will create a little bit of wind. The general trend is for mild, dry weather. We're tracking a midweek storm for a few rain showers, maybe a little mountain snow, ahead of a potential 80-degree temperature this week. But let's go back to the wind. The pictures, the damage from that windstorm on Saturday, really unbelievable. Some folks had some fun with it. There was a lot of property damage, and Mary's granddaughter, I just thought that was so clever. from The Wizard of Oz. Anyway, here's some of the peak gusts around the area. NCAR and Boulder, 97 miles per hour. Marshall, 95, 91 in Copper Mountain. The winds will be continuing to decrease tonight. We should have a relatively calm day tomorrow. Temperatures still pretty mild this hour in the 40s. But again, being in between two storm systems, the one to the south will continue to bring snow to the mountains. We'll let you know when Denver might see some beneficial precipitation. That's coming up.
Thanks, Kathy. Wildlife officials say a wolf killed another calf along the western slope. This is the second calf killed by a wolf in 1 week. The most recent incident happened yesterday in Jackson County. CPW won't confirm if it's one of the 10 wolves reintroduced to Colorado last year or one of the wolves that migrated down from Wyoming. Officials did confirm one of its reintroduced wolves did kill a calf last week in Grand County. CPW is tracking the wolves with GPS collars. The latest map shows that the wolves are spreading out throughout northwest Colorado. CPW says it's working with the Department of Agriculture to request money from the state to help ranchers and livestock owners. They want to hire ranger riders, people who detect wolves in the area and help keep them away from livestock. Jury selection could take several days in the trial against a former deputy who shot and killed Christian Glass. Andrew Bune pleaded not guilty to the charges of second-degree murder.
Our partners at the Denver Gazette report 1,500 people were summoned to potentially sit on this jury. And in a county of only 9,000 people, 9 News reporter Kelly Rinke takes a look at the logistics of making sure there's a fair trial.
Nearly 2 years later, a former deputy is heading to trial. Residents from a community he once served in Clear Creek County must decide if Andrew Bune committed a crime.
It's enormously difficult to sit a jury in any case.
The notoriety of this case may make jury selection even more challenging. Bune is accused of second-degree murder. He shot Christian Glass 5 times in the chest, killing him. The 22-year-old called 911 for help, appearing to be in a mental health crisis.
The mere fact that an individual has been exposed to pretrial publicity does not rule them out as a potential juror. What matters is whether they've made their minds up one way or the other as to how the case should come out.
9 News legal expert Scott Robinson says attorneys will also focus on potential jurors' attitudes towards law enforcement. According to our partners at the Denver Gazette, the county sent out 1,500 jury summonses for this trial. That's 1 out of 6 eligible residents in Clear Creek County.
1,500 is a lot of summonses, but they're going to have a lot of no-shows, people moving in and out. In high-profile cases where there are a lot of potential jurors coming in, it's often staggered so that they come in on different days in a given week.
Jury selection could take several days. Answering questions from the attorneys could take time.
Typically, a judge will take them and the lawyers back to chambers because you don't want one potential juror to taint the rest of the folks that are in the courtroom.
Hundreds were asked to be available to serve. It will come down to a handful to decide if a deputy is responsible for the death of a man who called police for help. Jury selection started today. This trial is scheduled to go for at least 3 weeks. Christian Glass's parents have said Bune is prolonging their grief by not accepting a plea deal months ago. Kelly Rinke, 9 News.
And Kelly, this is a county where everybody has heard about this case. That's the challenge in seating a jury in a small county like Clear Creek.
But what Scott Robinson said, it really doesn't matter if people have known about it. It's just whether or not attorneys feel that this person can be impartial. It is a gut feeling. It's a lot of guesswork, and they just have to have faith that jurors are answering questions truthfully.
All right, Kelly, thank you. Denver Public Schools and former school board member Aonte Anderson are settling a lawsuit after Anderson blocked a parent on Facebook. That DPS parent, Eve Chen, will get $25,000 now. She claims Anderson blocked her and other people on Facebook, even while he used his page to post about Denver Public Schools policy and board decisions. Not only will Chen receive the settlement, but the settlement says Anderson must unblock her and others on Facebook. Since the suit was filed, the DPS board changed its policy to say any members wanting to post about the board must have a separate page from their personal one. Just last month, the judge ordered Anderson to pay $60,000 to cover the legal fees in a different defamation suit that Anderson filed in 2021. We are starting to see the real impacts of migrants who come to Colorado but cannot work. Eviction lawyers say they are seeing an increasing number of new arrivals that end up in eviction proceedings.
And 9 News reporter Angela McCall spoke with one family who said that they would have paid their rent if they could.
When taking on a lease of their own,
En este caso, para nosotros
complicado ya.
They didn't expect it would put them here at the Denver City and County building.
Sí, demasiado estresado, demasiado fuerte.
Daniela and Sabel are one of dozens here at court.
Pues un poco nerviosa, con muchas ansias, preocupación, pero acá. Vamos, José, vamos.
Today they'll learn what the judge will decide at their eviction hearing.
Ya hoy nos darán la respuesta de cuántos días nos puedan quedar para poder desalojar. Sí. La idea no es que no queremos pagar, sí queremos, pero no contamos ahora con un trabajo.
In January, they got behind on their rent.
La razón, el trabajo, sí. Más que todo el trabajo porque también no tenemos permiso y se nos ha hecho un poco difícil.
Pero cuando yo llegué pensé que las cosas iban a ser más fáciles, cuando no lo fueron.
No job, no income, no way to pay the rent.
Si no tienes trabajo, no tienes nada.
Leaving them with no option here in court.
¿Antes de emitir la orden? No.
They settled in a meeting with the other side's lawyers. They'll be out in 7 days.
Queremos salir adelante y se han hecho como amistades. Y bueno, ahorita vamos a alquilar un cuarto pequeño y un poco más económico para poder estar, sí.
Still waiting on work permits. They know any kind of rent will be a struggle until then.
Somos muchas familias migrantes que llegan y tienen este mismo problema, pero quizás todas no es porque no quieran pagar, quizás es por la necesidad del trabajo y de esperar el permiso, de esperar a que el gobierno pueda ayudarnos en ese proceso.
Daniela and Sabel say they came to an agreement with the company that this wouldn't be placed as an eviction on their record, but that isn't the case for most people when this happens, and it makes it much harder to rent another apartment later on when there is an eviction on your record. In the studio, I'm Angela McCall.